Well, good evening, folks. West Coasters, it's still pretty early. Probably just had a nice dinner. East Coasters, you're probably settling in for the night, ready to take your evening nap. And those of you that are watching from Europe, specifically Germany, welcome all in. It's really early in the morning there in Germany. What is it? Must be like 3 in the morning, 2 in the morning. Whew. Dedication. That's what I talk about. Dedication. Welcome all in, everyone, to the Black Aces Podcast, number 5, 3:15 a.m. Well, I hope you have a nice cup of coffee ready for you, D Block Dragon, because we're ready to talk some hockey. Yeah, this is the Black Aces Podcast. I saw Cavacom, Boyle Dag is here. So yeah, got a Fussmucker is here. Excellent. Good. Yeah, so we got a crew ready tonight. Unfortunately, half of our panel could not make it. Old Man Fred, being Old Man Fred, he is moving today. Today is moving day. He is moving to a different house, and he's been doing that over the last couple of days. So he sends his apologies that he couldn't make it the last 2 days or 2 weeks in a row. He will be back all fired up next Monday. And Ryan, Finn, he is working at the airport tonight, the Edmonton International Airport. Yeah, he got night shift tonight. So with his company, he's out testing fire alarms at the airport. So unfortunately, those they could not be here. And yeah, maybe it was synchronicity that he couldn't be here tonight, Old Man Fred, because the Leafs and Chicago. Well, we'll get into that a little bit later. But let's bring in the other co-host tonight. You know him. You know his rants. You know his opinions. Lanky Frank, back on the show. Lanky Frank, it's just you and I tonight. Think we can carry this?
Of course we can. I got a smile on my face. The Leafs are getting embarrassed, so that's always a good day.
Well, I don't know what fans we have. Don't cut the D Block Dragon.
I don't care.
I don't know what team you support, but just Lanky Frank. He's against the Leafs because he's a Montreal Canadian fan. So don't take it personally, guys. If you're a Leafs fan, it's just Frank. If you've been here for 4 episodes, you know it's Frank. So Frank, you pretty pumped that the season started? You got to see a few games now?
Oh, I saw more than a few. Opening night, I saw 3. Pretty cool that they did that. 5:30 start, followed by an 8 p.m. start, followed by a 10:30 start. So that was very cool. So everybody had 3 back-to-back games. So I saw all 3. Yeah, and I've been watching like non-Habs games, etc. So yeah, exciting times right now. Lots of surprises and stuff. So some things predictable, some things surprising. Leafs are not surprising, unfortunately.
Well, we're going to talk about some of the games that have been played already. We're going to look at what the standings are, some of the leading point getters. We're also going to have a good conversation about Alex Ovechkin. Is Alex Ovechkin, a better goal scorer than Wayne Gretzky? And that's going to be an interesting conversation. We'll save that for a little bit later. That one's for you, Boiled Egg, and Alex Ovechkin talk. We're also going to pick our games of the upcoming week, games that, we're going to focus on and think could be interesting this early in the season. And then we're going to end off going in a Yahoo fantasy hockey draft. Frank, if you don't know, he's the smartest fantasy hockey person I know. He's amazing. He's probably got like a 30 to 40% win rate over the last 10 years in Yahoo fantasy hockey. Dynasty leagues, one season leagues, keeper leagues. Frank knows it all. So he's going to guide us through kind of a public Yahoo fantasy. We've signed up for one at 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock Eastern. So we're going to go through that quickly at the end and see how Frank thinks as he approaches a fantasy hockey draft. So that'll be kind of fun. All right, let's look at some of the games that have been played already, Frank. And I know you said you had a couple in mind that you kind of wanted to focus on I can't remember the exact dates, but who were they? Who were the two teams?
I didn't have any.
You didn't?
So, no. Like
Okay.
I said,
Well,
I haven't had a chance. I know the Habs are playing 3 times.
okay.
But
Well, how about the Maple
for the
Leaf
last week.
Canadians?
Oh, I thought you meant
Yeah,
for
last week.
next week.
Last week.
Oh, last week. Yeah, for sure. Habs Maple Leafs. What an exciting game. Back and forth. Everybody got their money's worth in Toronto with that game. So it was exciting, man. It's like shootout at the OK Corral, the modern version. And that game actually showed me that Maple Leaf, I said in the podcast, I hope they would break through, etc. They're not going to break through. What I saw during that game is more of the same. And there were comments in between periods that kind of said the same thing. That core doesn't work. And so if you try the same recipe every time and your cake doesn't come out right, well, you have to change the recipe at one point. And last year, everybody on the panel agreed that the Leafs had to trade one of their big fours. But what really ticked me on it's not going to happen in the playoffs for the Leafs is a sequence with Bertuzzi. Because he's a new guy. They brought in some new blood. And there was like a skirmish, and he was skating backwards towards the corner. And when the refs got involved, that's where he started punching people. And it made me think of the schoolyard bully that would only start talking trash when the teachers were around and stuff like that. Behind your mother's apron, then you talk trash to your friends because they can't do anything because your mother's right there. It gave me that vibe, Instead of being tough during the game, they're always tough after the whistle, and that just showed me that nothing will change with the Leafs. They'll be great in the regular season. They're gonna fold like a house of cards because they're tough after the whistle.
Okay. And I saw part of that game, and Montreal, I think, had the lead late in that game, didn't they? And then the Leafs tied it up and then won in overtime or something, or a shootout or something like that.
I think it was shootout, so it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's not the result. It's really the attitude, of the Leafs. And I saw another game from them, and it's like, I don't know. But the good news is Matthews is back.
He always is, Frank. He's always a first month performer, like every season.
But he scored only 40. No. Last year, man, he scored 60 goals. And then last year, if you remember all his quotes, he decides, I'm a two-way player. I'm going to play defense. He's blocking shot like crazy last year and all that. It's like, dude, you're a thoroughbred. We're not going to make you plow the goddamn field. And I don't know where he got this idea from that he wanted to be a two-way player, but he went down to 40 goals. Then he saw Draisaitl with another 50 goals, and McDavid just decided that, hey, I'm going to try scoring this year just to see what happens. And he's the premier goal scorer. He's a better goal scorer than Matthews and Draisaitl. He's the best in the league. And for him to decide all of a sudden, I'm going to be tough, I'm going to hit, I'm going to block shots, I'm going to get – no, go score. And I think this year he said, I have people to do the other jobs, but those other people can't do my job, which is score 20 extra goals. So I think he took it upon himself to say, okay, I'll do me. I'm going to score a ton of goals. So I think he's back. He's going to score 60 this year. But it's not going to change in the playoffs, unfortunately.
Is he winning the Rocket Richard? Call it now. Is Matthews going to win the Rocket Richard?
Yes.
Wow. He's going to get injured, Frank. He's going to get injured. He's going to miss 20.
No, he's not going to hit it. He's not going to hit like last year.
Still.
He's a sharpshooter, just like Ovechkin is, because McDavid is different. He creates goal off his speed, off his movement, off his dekes, but he doesn't have the shot Austin has. Even Leon doesn't have the shot Austin has. So you're right. If he gets injured, well, you can say, oh, he's not going to win because he's injured. Nobody wins if they're injured. But if he's not injured, it comes back to him.
All right. Well, welcome all in OOTP Developments. Thank you for the raid. Thanks for coming in. I think you guys were doing a Boston Red Sox and a San Diego Padre game. Who won that game anyway? I think, was it the Red Sox that ended up winning? I think last I checked, it was like 3-1 for the Red Sox. So that was the Monday night game of the week on OOTP. Good to see you guys. I know a lot of you are new to the hockey chat. Let us know in the chat, who is your favorite team? We've got a Washington Capitals fan. We have a Chicago Blackhawks fan. Let us know who you guys follow, if you even follow hockey. I know some of you guys might not follow hockey, but hey, welcome all in. Two of our panel could not make it tonight. Old Man Fred and Finn have prior commitments, so they will be back next week. And we'll see a full panel very, very soon. All right, the other game, the same night as the Maple Leafs Canadiens, we got to talk about Connor Bedard, of course, because Connor Bedard played the played the Boston Bruins and scored his first NHL goal. If you didn't see it, this was the first of many in the league against the Boston Bruins here. Around the net, wrap around, there it is. Connor Bedard, very first NHL goal. It was the second game. They had played the night before. But Frank, this kid, I know you can't really compare him to McDavid. He's more probably like a Patrick Kane, right? Is that kind of the player you would compare him the best to?
Nah, he's a better scorer than Patrick Kane. He's in a category of his own because he doesn't have the size of Ovechkin and the size of Matthews, being, over 6 feet, over 200 pounds. But he's such a great scorer. He's a future Rocket Richard winner. I think he's unique, man. I haven't seen such a small player be that good of a scorer. They're usually good passers, like Adam Oates, those types of players. But he's so lethal with a shot. Like, where does he get the power in that tiny body? And they were talking about the flex he does with his top hand on Saturday night. But yeah, so I don't think you can. I think he's unique in a way that he's not like any player in the league right now. And he's not like Patrick Kane, because Patrick Kane didn't have 60, 70 goal potential in him.
Yeah. Media treating Bedard like he's dating Taylor Swift. So, and that's the thing, Fussmucker. When you're a player like a McDavid, like a Bedard, like a Sidney Crosby, if you're in an American team, you get a different media perspective than you do if you're playing for a Canadian team outside of the Canadian team. McDavid, if he was playing for a Washington or a Pittsburgh or Chicago, man, he would be the poster boy everywhere. But because he's playing at Edmonton, it's more of a localized market, more of a Canadian market. We don't see his brand. I don't know, you guys as Americans, do you see a lot of Connor McDavid out there in the media, in the news, in your American broadcasts? Because Connor Bedard, he's all over the place. And I think it's just more of the market that he's in. He's like Guy Lafleur.
The last superstars, Matthews went to Toronto. He was from Arizona. Everybody was hoping it'd be in the U.S. McDavid went to Edmonton. Eichel went to Buffalo, which is a small market. Draisaitl was not a superstar. He became one with his development, but he's also in Edmonton. So it's like, and you have Ovechkin, Sid, Malkin, they're established. So there hasn't been an excitement that the U.S. has had with a player in a very long time. So it's since Crosby, basically, because everybody else came up north. So he's that rare of a talent. So
great for Chicago fans. Great for Don't Cut the D-Block Dragon, who likes the Blackhawks. Of course, as a Canadian, I would have loved to see him in Vancouver with that, McDavid, Bedard rivalry. with the Habs. I would have loved to see him basically in any Canadian market except Toronto. Because if he somehow was in Toronto, oh boy, if you thought he was getting a lot of exposure now, it would be Connor McDavid or it would be Connor Bedard underwear, being sold on the streets, because they would definitely overdo it if he was playing in the Toronto market. Rob Deere and Headlights, you've even heard of Wayne Gretzky? All right. Yeah. Hopefully not just the video game, because I think Wayne Gretzky had like a Nintendo video game out back in the 80s. All right, so that was some of the games that were played earlier on this week. Of course, today being the 16th, we've got 5 games on. The Red Wings are killing it over the Blue Jackets with 2.5 minutes left to go. Panthers hanging on against Rich Grisham's Devils. The Rangers barely. The Coyotes, Frank, they're kind of they're hanging in there, aren't they, this season so far?
At least I have one prediction that's going well.
I predicted them last.
I'm gonna have to wait for the rest of them, but up to now, because we haven't talked about the standings, but Chicago's doing much better than expected. Coyotes, I called them, but you guys didn't. I'm alone, but like Columbus, it's like everybody's like, my predictions are gonna suck right now, but yeah. So yes, Coyotes. I'm not surprised.
Look how desperate the Leafs are. With 4 minutes left in the game, it's an empty net. There you go. They pulled the goalie with 4 minutes left in the game. Looks like they are on a 6-on-5 right now. So Connor Bedard hasn't scored tonight. It's been Entwistle, Perry, and Tyler Johnson. Tavares for the Leafs. But Connor Bedard scoring a goal in Toronto, you can bet they're trying to get him the puck on this empty net.
And good stat is in this 3 games, like Connor Bedard has the most scoring chances in the NHL, which is this is completely bonkers to me on that shitty of a team that he's 18 for God's sakes, and he can create his own chances, because not Taylor Hall that's doing it for him or Donato. So it's just crazy that he has the most scoring chances in the NHL, more than the guy with 6 goals. Crazy.
Yeah. And 2 teams we're kind of watching because they didn't make the playoffs last year, but they're I know you picked the Flames to finish higher up this season. You didn't really have a lot of hope for Washington. Right now, tied 2-2, 3.5 minutes left in the third. It looks like Calgary's on a power play. Ruzicka and Dubé for the Flames, and then it was Phillips and McMichael scoring for the Capitals. Yeah, the rookies. So a lot of young guys getting a lot of playing time. Milano, of course, going from Columbus to, I think it was in Anaheim, and then Columbus, and now in Washington. So he's traveled around the league a lot recently. Do you still see Washington, even though Backstrom's back, Ovechkin's back, are they still 10 to 15 points out of the playoffs?
Of course.
Yeah.
They got outshot 18-3 or something in the first period.
Yeah.
No, they're just playing bad. I don't know what the hell they have to do, but they're gonna have to get in gear, man, because the shots are 22-39. That's the Capitals. They shoot. So I don't know what's going on with them, but look, it's early season. Everybody has to breathe. People have played 2-3 games, and it's the same thing in Buffalo. Buffalo hasn't started well. We can go skip straight to the next segment, is surprises of the first week. So what happened in Buffalo is, and that's where I don't get coaches. We said like the last week of training camp is supposed to prepare you for the season. They played Benson with Thompson and Skinner the whole preseason, all the way to the last game. Regular season starts. Oh, they put Alex Tuck back with Tage and Skinner because they played together last year. They have to get back in the groove. So they're all messed up. Benson goes to the third line. Columbus is the same with Fantilli playing with Liney, and then boom, starts the year on the third line, second power play. I don't get like why they wait for the regular season before making these adjustments. You know, Matthew Phillips was playing on the top line in the preseason, and then it's like, oops, he goes back to the third line. It's like, I just don't get it. So Buffalo is 0-2. There's no synchronicity. The team is, it's like they've never played together before. So Buffalo and Boston is surprising. I don't know what the hell is in their water, but my 40 points, that's what I'm saying, my predictions. So Boston, it's the way they're playing, the way they're winning. They play a team game. Everybody's buying in. You know, they changed Montgomery last year, but they play the same system. It's the team, the concept, etc. Vegas, and this is where I'm going to trash my you and the other two that are absent. Oh, Vegas is not going to be good this year because of a Stanley Cup hangover, blah, blah, blah. And this, I love that. There's always a Stanley Cup hangover. Let's throw that in to look intelligent, blah, blah, blah. But you have to understand what causes a Stanley Cup hangover. All right? Jack Eichel has no mileage on his legs because of his injury history. He didn't miss a couple of games. He only played 67 games last year. Mark Stone played 0 games. I don't know where his hangover comes from. 0 regular season game. You know, Marchessault's a late bloomer. Chandler Stevenson's a late bloomer. None of these guys have mileage. Okay, Shea Theodore played 55 games. He doesn't have a Stanley Cup hangover. But the key is goalies. Vasilevsky playing 65 games during the regular season, plus 20. When you approach 85, 90 games played as a goalie, you're tired the next year. And the goalie with the most games played last year for Vegas was Logan Thompson with 37. Didn't even reach half of the games played. Didn't play in the playoffs because Aiden Hill was the one playing. Aiden Hill played 27 games plus the playoffs. Their goalies are fresh. Then Brossois played 11 and Quick played 10. So, and you all mentioned Vegas as a Stanley Cup hangover, but not Florida, which is weird because Florida was in all in your top fives. It's like, why is the winner get a Stanley Cup hangover, but not the loser? You know, especially the loser that's losing players to severe injuries. So anyways, so Vegas is 3-0, dominating, playing like they're fresh. There was no COVID, no shortened off season. So like Tampa had a hangover with a shortened season and shortened off season. So Vegas is rolling. Vancouver, they're lucky they played. That's like the Habs when they played just against Canadian teams. We had their numbers. Vancouver has Oilers number, and it happened when Quebec City was a crap team. They always find a way to beat Montreal. Same thing with Hartford. Well, Vancouver's 2-0, but it's Oilers 2-0.
Yeah.
So
Edmonton. Starting off 0-2, and I know you're not in Edmonton. You're out east, but Edmonton, the fans are panicking right now. The fans are, they're rioting almost because. I know it's 2 games, but that's just how Oilers fans react. I mean, they expect to go 82-0, and when they come out and lose 2 to Vancouver, they lose 2 games, and one of them's a blowout. They're calling for heads right now, and I have to admit, I'm worried about the goaltending. Skinner and Campbell, if they can't get things worked out by the 10-game mark, they've got to look for a goalie, but I don't know who's available. I don't think you go out and get a John Gibson. I don't think he's the answer. Who's out there that they could look for to replace these guys? Because they're not going to let it slide. They brought in some new personnel into the front office.
Cap. They have no cap. They're screwed.
Yeah.
But look, relax. All right, everybody's breathe. Okay? The Oilers' defense sucked. It sucked last year. It sucked the year before. they overpaid. They have players that don't belong. Nurse is making way too much. They didn't spend their money wisely on defense. So everybody should calm down. They have the two best players in the world. They're not going to win by defense. They're not going to win by. They just need decent goaltending. So I'm not worried about Edmonton because everybody's panicking. Their defense is shit. Well, it was shit last year. It's going to be shit next month, and it's going to be shit in the new year. Okay? They're going to win 5-4, 5-3, 5-2. Florida's 0-2 and Buffalo's 0-2. And Florida made the Stanley Cup Finals, and nobody's panicking there either. What's more worrisome is Seattle 0-2-1. And I was thinking about that. Seattle's problem is we all got enamored with them last year, etc. But they did that last year on the backs of career years for so many of their players. McCann scored 40 goals with 19% shooting percentage. There's regression. There's always regressions. But the whole team overperformed, and the whole team, if they all regress at the same time, Seattle's not making the playoffs. And that's what I'm seeing. They can't score goals. They were one of the highest scoring teams last year, and they're not scoring goals. They have 2 goals in 3 games, but that's regression. So I'd be way more worried if I was a Seattle fan than an Edmonton fan. And the rest, you can see it's 2 games, so everybody's 1-1. So and the rookies are doing great. Connor's 3-point, Cooley 3-point. That's the good thing. Like, rookies are performing. Minty, we'll call him in Anaheim, first goal. So it's like, that's the cool thing when you see rookies doing well over the first week. We'll see who stays, who goes, because it's not guaranteed that any of these rookies are going to stay past the 9 games. There's 2 benchmarks for everybody listening. Those are less familiar with hockey. The 9-game criteria, that's not to activate your entry-level contract. So once you go over 9 games, your 3-year contract starts right now, even though they send you in juniors. The second thing is the 40-ish game. I think it's 41 and 40 or 42. That's where you burn the first year of free agency. Okay, you have to play 7 years or up to age 27. But if you play over 40 games, you're a free agent at age 25. And a lot of teams will keep players like Guenther played 30-some-odd games last year with the Phoenix, but they sent him back down to juniors before he would be eligible, because 18 years old plus 7 equals 25. So for those that need help with math. So now Guenther can, if he stays a full year, can become a free agent at 26, but then everybody's defaulted at 27. So that's the 2 important games played threshold from this year for these rookies. So Benson is doing well, 3 points also, just like Bedard and Cooley. Will he stay? He wasn't supposed to stay past training camp, so I think he's bulldozing his way into the NHL. So we'll see. So it's just the first week, like I said.
So we do have some finals in. Detroit over Columbus 4-0. The Panthers hang on. I think they were up 4-0, and Jersey scored 3 goals late in the third period. So 4-3. Panthers win finally. They get their first win. Rangers and Coyotes down to the last 17 seconds here. Coyotes have their goalie pulled, and the Leafs, with 6 seconds left, looks like they're going to lose. And the Flames and Capitals are in overtime. So boiled egg. Keep us updated. Looks like about 2.5 minutes left in overtime in that game there. So those are the games currently going on. If we look at the individual players scoring, we talked about Mr. Austin Matthews a little later. 2 hat tricks in a row for the Leafs. 6 points, 6 goals. He's having a Cy Young award-winning year. Got no wins. He's got wins, but he doesn't have anything else. He's got goals, but no assists. Anyone else that's really kind of like opening your eyes to, wow, that's an amazing start.
Gino, come on, he's second on the list. What is he? Fucking 37, 38? I think he needs a walker to get to the rink, man. God, he's on fire. On fire. You know,
37-year-old Geno Malkin.
and I've seen Pittsburgh twice, their games on TV. He is freaking dominating this year. He's gonna get tired, but wow, he's like, hey, remember me, kiddos? So that's impressive. Brock Besser, man, this guy, man, so much potential. Pure goal scorer. He's got 4 goals. We're going right by him. He's 6th on the list, by the way. So he's got 4 goals in 2 games. But he always had the potential. Asked to be traded last year. Things didn't go well. He had 1 good year and then fit. So, yeah, man, that was awesome. And, yeah, we're talking about offense, but Dongoria has a great point. The game of the week for goalies is the record-setting Mackenzie Blackwood with 51 saves on Saturday. Took a point from Colorado. Come on, man. How'd you do that? Colorado against San Jose, and San Jose got a point. Come on. I thought actually they would win at one point. So Mackenzie Blackwood back from the dead. You know, what a game for the ages. So that was certainly a great game from him against the powerhouse Avalanche. So you get these at the early in the season. So yeah, besides that, the Brinkat, God, he's going to pay off in spades. More points tonight for Detroit. On the disappointing side, that any good, I knew because I know the player. Jeff Petry's already a healthy scratch.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
So the honeymoon is already over after a couple of games. Eat popcorn. I didn't understand why they traded for him. He didn't fit. They didn't need him. You know, they got Ghost. They already had Cider. I don't know why they traded for him. They didn't cost anything, but he's already a healthy scratch. So, yeah. So,
like William Nylander, like say what you want about Toronto, but you know, I think consistently over the last 3 seasons, he's just so he doesn't get a lot of press, a lot of exposure. It's always Marner, it's always Matthews. But this kid, I mean, there was a lot of heat put on Toronto when they signed this kid to that contract years ago. But you know, out of Calgary, Alberta, he's off to another great start. 5 points already.
Yep. Yeah, he's playing for a contract, remember. He's a free agent at the end of the year. So
What was his dad's name again? What was the other Nylander?
Michael.
Michael, yeah,
Michael. His brother's Alex, who didn't pan out, actually got, I think, drafted higher than William. But yeah, Michael Nylander obviously gave birth to him in his long career in Calgary because that's where he was born. But Michael Nylander played for St. Louis. He went all over the place. I think he even played for Toronto at one point. But yeah, I'm not surprised. It's good that Minton making the team. He made the team as the 3rd line center, so that put Nylander back on the wing with Tavares because I don't know, Keefe is smoking good crack in Toronto that he wanted to put Nylander at center. So,
and then we got some of these players like Evan Rodrigues who went to Florida. He started off fantastic, got 4 points already. Jacob Chychrun, we know he's a good defenseman. We never knew what he was going to do outside of Phoenix because he's been there for so long. But looks like he's off to a good start. 4 points with Ottawa. Boone Jenner, like been rejuvenated this year, is off to a good start.
One game, 1 hat trick. I don't care, man. It's like if you have a hat trick in a game, it's like of course your stats are going to look good after 2 games.
and then they lose 4-0 tonight to Detroit. So it's back to normal. Chandler Stevenson, Vegas again scoring. So again, we're seeing a lot of familiar names. Andrew Mangiapane, he's up there. I don't think it's going to be long. It's not going to be often that you see Connor McDavid number 46. I think he'll be in the top 10 relatively quick. But yeah, it's only been a few games, and we'll have a better. What do you agree with a lot of experts that say you really can't evaluate until about the 20 game mark? What is it for you? Where's that point where you can really start to pinpoint a team?
10 to 20, a team more 20, individual players 10, starting at 10. But a team, it also depends who.
Ask Mike Babcock. He might have an idea.
So a team is also depends who they're playing. Like the Habs played on the road in Toronto for the home opener, the season opener or whatever. I think Saturday. I can't remember when, but that is their only road game in October, and they went to Toronto, so they didn't fly anywhere. So there's an ease of schedule, etc., that you have to take into account. So sometimes you plus or minus 20 games. Depends. What happens is the first 20 games will eliminate you from the playoffs, but it won't necessarily guarantee you make the playoffs. That's the big difference in the first 20 games.
Good point. Okay. Moving on, when we look at, some of the key injuries early on in the season. Injuries obviously are devastating. You don't want it to happen. But Frank, you've kind of picked out a couple key ones that you want to zone in on tonight. Who are the two key injuries so far this season?
First one, I know we don't have any Minnesota fan, but it's big. It's Matt Boldy's out week to week. News came out this morning that he's week to week. Minnesota is worse on the cap than Edmonton because of the cap recapture. Finn keeps telling it on our podcast this year. They have 15 million wasted cap space from the Parise and Suter contracts buyback. And he's a big piece. He's in the top 6. So he's gone. So that's a big piece. The offense goes through Boldy, Eriksson Ek, and Kaprizov. So that's gonna hurt Minnesota. And then the second one is my good old Habs. The Habs lost over 600 man games to injuries last year. I think they beat their own records from the previous year. And then Kirby Dach, the news came out today that he is out long term. The rumor is he's torn his ACL and MCL. If that's confirmed, he's gone for the year. So that's throws their whole planning on their top, Dach being the second line center out for a loop. And it just messes up all the lines, the chemistry. Slafosky was doing great with him as his center. He didn't do that well last year. He got injured, played half a year. So, those are two big injuries. So, for the Habs, there's no playoff implications like Minnesota, but big implications in the development of Dach and also everybody around. So, Monahan is staying in the third line center. I thought he would go to the second line center. But Newhook is getting a turn as the second line center, and we'll see if he can be Dach 2.0 this year from last year.
And Frank, can you believe that Robbie Fabry is injured? Like, what's going on there?
Yeah, he probably got out of bed, and that's enough for him to get put on IR.
Tell the story you told me before we went on air today.
Yeah, somebody asked on Twitter who is your biggest Band-Aid boy out there and all that, and everybody was answering a bunch of players, and I wrote Robbie Fabry is the king of injured players. I said everybody else just plays in his kingdom, and then he got injured 2 days later, and I just posted the link, that little tweet that he got injured again, and I said I just wrote case in point, boom. This guy is so unlucky. He's 27. I don't know how many games he's played in his career, and he tore his knees, his ankles. He's injured every body part. He's like Frankenstein, man. You know? It's like, poor guy, man. He's so unlucky. And like I said, getting out of bed is dangerous for him. He should never own a 2-story house, you know? So, poor guy, man. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, injuries are part of the game. We see them all the time. You just hope it's not to your favorite team that they take place in. Well, Frank, we got to take a break here. We're going to take a 2-minute break. On the other side, we are going to get into the Yahoo Fantasy Draft. We have a team registered, and it's going to start in just over 4 minutes' time. And Frank, I don't know if you can see that in terms of what pick we get.
Yeah.
The Black Aces Podcast gets pick number 1, baby. We get pick.
Is it snaking? It
is snaking. Yeah, it is snaking. So.
So that's easy for you, man.
I'll take the first round pick. You can take all the rest of them. All right, back in 2 minutes' time.
All right.
All right, we are back. And Frank and I basically decided, and then I told Frank that we do a fantasy draft live, at least part of it. And the Yahoo public leaves, they suck. They suck because you get a lot of these situations where you do get auto drafters. Managers don't take it seriously. Frank and I are part of many other real serious fantasy leagues. I'm in 4 different fantasy hockey leagues with Frank as a commissioner, and they're some of the best run you'll ever find. But these ones, we thought, well, there's no custom leagues that are going to start at this time. So let's just join a Yahoo regular one and go through the draft process and kind of pick Frank's brain a little bit. Are you guys, any of you out there in chat, are you part of fantasy hockey leagues? Do you do hockey pools? Do you do
eight auto drafts? What I told you, if I leave, I go off cameras. I went to throw up. I'm forced to do this against my better judgment.
Yeah, I was hoping. Well, okay, we got 5 now, so maybe we're going to have a few people jump in at the end here. But we'll make our first pick and then we'll leave because it's going to be 15 minutes until our next pick comes up.
Oh no, it's going to go fast with all these autos.
All right, we will take we will draft Connor McDavid. Thank you very much. A lot of people too, they join these leagues, and if they don't get like a top 3 pick, they leave and they just say, I'm not even going to bother.
There's autos at 2 and 3. It was completely stupid.
Yeah. So looks like we have live.
Oh, Matthews is going next, and then let me look. Oh, Pasternak's going to go. Oh, Pasternak actually went 3rd. How did that happen?
Well, we got Kevin. Kevin joined us at number 7 there. So we got 1, 2, 7, 10, and 11.
How much time per? I can't see it with your title. Is it 60 seconds per pick?
1 minute. 1 minute per pick.
All right.
So we'll do the first couple rounds, and then we got to go and talk about Alex Ovechkin and an article that you shared with me. But let's go through a couple rounds here. So again, this is just a standard Yahoo one where you've got goals, assists, plus minus, power points.
Oh, come on, man. Auto pick should be automatic, man.
No, they always wait like 10 seconds. But
this one 20 now. This is an auto.
He's probably in the he's probably there. He's just turned auto pick on. Sometimes managers do that just because they want to be annoying. They're like, I'm going to go to the last second on every single pick. I've seen that happen. Annoying. It is annoying. Poor Kevin. Poor Kevin's waiting at number 7.
Yes, it is boiled eggs. But that's not. I have 2 parts to my intervention. That's the second part. So,
the boiled egg is on top of things. He knows what Frank is going to talk about. Boiled egg. Are you French Canadian as well? I thought I heard you say one episode that you were French Canadian. Same with Frank. All right, Kevin, come on.
He used a swear word.
Oui, oui. Oui, oui.
It wasn't wee wee, man, that you used.
Was it the one that starts with T?
No, it was the one that starts with C.
Oh, c'est la vie?
There you
Comment
go.
ça,
You put it back in. It's what the priest drinks out of.
comment ça va? All right. So, yeah, we'll zip through. We'll do our next couple picks, and then we'll talk a little bit about Ovechkin. So, if you're just doing a 1-year draft, you take goalies early?
No. You got to take a right wing now. That's the shallowest position. That's why I'm checking the right wings come off the board.
So right wings, Pasternak, Kachuk, Kucherov, Rantanen, all gone. All right, well, we're getting to some human picks here, so at least they may go off the board a little bit.
I'm hoping JT Miller's available.
JT Miller. Oh, he should be there. Okay, so we're going to tag JT Miller. Anyone else? Do we tag Jake Ottinger? Do we take Jake?
Not the next pick. Are you crazy?
In round 3, we get back-to-back.
Oh. No, you take Shesterkin. Is he gone? I don't know.
I think some of the goals.
Connor Bedard, 14th. Fucking idiot. It's a fucking 1-year league. Why are you taking Connor Bedard for? With his 70 points when you got guys who are going to score 90 points still on the board? Yeah, what are the scoring categories?
Shesterkin is the only one gone. These are the scoring categories here. So,
okay, hits are there. Okay, I'm sticking with my Miller if hits are there. Go back to the forwards. Kaprizov, left wing. Go back to players. I don't care about fucking standings.
That's not standings. That's goalies.
You had it as standings.
You must be lagging a little bit here, Frank.
Marner. Okay, he's gone.
We ranked. How do you like to rank? Like, which of these 3 do you like? Do you like X rank? Do you like the Yahoo rank, or do you like the average drafted?
ADP.
ADP.
Yeah. So we're gonna take. If Nylander is still there, we might take him. How many total picks? 5, and then we have 2, right?
Yep.
Oh, and which right wings? Nylander's there, and then sorted just by right winger. I'm not taking Hyman or Meyer. No. See, but I said ADP, but I ignore it. You got to go with your gut.
I feel sorry for the auto drafter that's going to be getting Matt Boldy this early.
Okay, Sorokin is gone, so the 2 Russians are gone. So there's Vasilevsky, who's gone a long time. Rupi Heinz, how many? 3 picks?
3 more picks.
Come on, field. Put Ottinger and Vasilevsky went before. Great, that's awesome. Okay, Ottinger is the preferred one. Sorokin is gone now. So, fuck. Okay.
Otten, he is gone, unfortunately. I was hoping he would be there. Okay. So it looks like we are going to get JT Miller, although Colby just joined.
Put Georgiev on there. Put goalies. Hurry up. Come on, old man.
We got lots of time.
We don't. We're next.
Okay, JT Miller and Georgiev.
Hollenbach or Georgiev? Yeah, Georgiev.
And then JT?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's turn off those draft sounds. Okay, we'll come back to that because I timed that. That was just over
22
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go talk about the player that you wanted to talk about a little bit today, and that was one Alex Ovechkin, 38-year-old, just turned 38 last month. Alex Ovechkin, 822 career goals. That's the important stat. And Boiled Egg mentioned the article that you came across. It's on TSN. Let me bring it up here.
Yeah, but keep it for my second part.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead, Frank. What do you want to talk about?
I want to talk about Ovechkin's legacy and go back to his stats because everybody's talking about the Gretzky chase, and that's awesome. He's 38. You have his stats back?
Yep.
Okay, I still see the TSN article. That's why. So we've been talking about it since he signed his 5-year contract, saying he's averages 30 some odd per year, etc. He's going to be in his age 39 year. Everybody's excited. But what I wanted to mention is this guy's already the best goal scorer ever. And that was before I read the TSN article. He's the only player in history to lose games 3 times, 2 work stoppages, and then the COVID. That's never happened to anybody, superstar or otherwise. Injuries, yes, but I mean outside his control. Like he lost his first year to a work stoppage. Then the second time was the work stoppage in 2012, 2013, and then COVID in 2021. So he's lost 160 games. So if you add he's averaging over half a goal per game. So let's put it at half a goal. That's 80 more goals. He's over 900. He would already be the best goal scorer in history. So that's why I wanted to say, like, everybody's fixated on the number, but you have to remember he started his career with a work stoppage, and like 2 work stoppages is rare. But then COVID hit, and it's like the gods, the Gretzky gods, don't want him to break the record, So we have to keep that in mind because it's through no fault of his own. Okay. The second thing, then when I got the TSN article, I go, here, that even proves my point further on his greatness. Because I found that somebody says, hey, everybody's talking about he's missing X number of goals, 72 goals to break the record, Well, I say he needs 1 extra goal. And then I sent you the article. I read it really, really fast, like diagonally, like we say. But then I read it right before the podcast. So if you go to the TSN, go to the table because everybody... you can put that link, Glenn, in the chat so everybody can go read it, right?
Yep.
Can you do that? Okay. So it explains how they do the adjustments per era, but go to the table because the next goal is not to pass Gretzky in era-adjusted scoring. It's actually to get past Gordie Howe. So if you look at here, that's the era-adjusted goal scorer, and Jagger is number 3, and Gretzky only makes number 4. And really fast, it's Gretzky scored a lot of his goals when the average goals per game were 8 per game, and then if you're in the era where it's 5 per game, well, goals count more in 5 per game than in 8 when everybody's scoring. You had the Grandpa Jack that was scoring 20 goals a year. But this list is very, very interesting because you see like Rocket Richard got a boost of 109, Gordie Howe a boost of 124, Phil Esposito and Gretzky got the biggest negatives. So that's
let's make our next couple picks here because we're up here. So
Timo, Timo, and oh yeah, he's dual position eligible, so that flexibility. I don't know how he survived all the way to here. So we need a left wing, but a double is great. And then how many starting positions do we have? 2, 2, 2, or 4 Ds. Take Dahlin.
Dahlin.
On your list.
Okay.
It's not complicated.
We're just waiting for Colby to draft here on auto draft. He's got 12 seconds to go. So see if he takes
this is gonna be a shit draft. I have to make decisions. I don't see what's below on the list, but hey, let's go with the flow, baby. Is Keller gone?
Clayton Keller? No, he's
Yeah,
there.
not for now, for next round. So do Timo
okay.
and do like I said, Timo and Rasmus.
All right. Timo and Rasmus. All right.
All right. So we got our first defenseman. Okay, Keller is still there because he is underrated. Boyle, I think it's Boyle who said he was underrated. So this is like really interesting. It just shows you how much of a legend Alex is in terms of pure goal scoring. We saw he's got more goals than assists. So he wasn't the most complete player. He still got the ring. But in terms of goal scorer, he's the greatest ever. He's the GOAT. I don't think we can... Mario might have been the GOAT without his back issues and all that. We'll never know. But yeah, Ovechkin is a special player that we got to experience firsthand.
How much do you think now that he's 38 in this day and age? I mean, last year he had 42 goals. Where do you realistically see him at this year with that Washington team? Can he break 40?
You never know, but one more year, he went down to 42 last year. I think he's going to get like maybe 35 and then 35 more next year. So breaking 40 is going to be hard, man. You know, it's like, and his supporting cast, you know, Backstrom is 35 now. You know, boiled eggs, he's realistic, 35 to 40. You know, Backstrom, Kuznetsov played with him while Backstrom, but he's on the second line and he's got no help. So, you know, so we'll see. Never count him out, you know, never counting out.
So he needs what, 72 to tie, right? 72. So
yeah.
probably at least 3 seasons. He'd really have to push it to get it in 2 seasons. So probably 3 seasons.
Depends how many empty net goals he gets in the next 2 years. That's going to help.
Yeah. Power play and empty net goals. That's for sure.
The coach should get fired if he doesn't put him on with a 1-goal lead at the end of the game.
Yeah. And I found this interesting too, just the amount of goals per game in each of the era. That Gretzky, of course, was in one of the highest goal scoring eras ever, which definitely helped his career. And then Ovechkin, look at how much goals have been suppressed, under 6 goals in most of his career.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go. A cool article with OV, as Frank says, the greatest. So would you put Gretzky at number 2 then, or do you put Gordie Howe above that, or Jaromir Jagr?
In terms of pure goal scorer, I don't go by the list. You know, Rocket Richard, look at the number of games he played. This guy was a bulldozer, pure goal scorer, 50 and 50, but he had 50 games in his season. You know, back in the day. So Gordie Howe was the more complete player, but Rocket was the offensive scoring dynamo. He had the record for the longest time in terms of the most goals scored in his career. I think until Esposito passed him. You know, Esposito got help with a 76-goal season, and he was like a machine. And then Mario, man, too bad, but he was also awesome goal scorer.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see where we're at now in terms of the draft. I think we're still about 12 picks away. So I think the last thing we want to talk about a little bit is look at the week ahead. And we want to try and keep these to an hour. And we're about just closing in on that hour mark that we've been on live. So, Frank, I know you haven't had a chance to look at some of the upcoming games this week. The NHL is basically a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday league. That's when the bulk of their games are played. Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday.
Let's look at first Edmonton. Who are they facing for the fan base to chill out? So they got Nashville. Should be a easy win. Philadelphia. They have only 2 games this week. Oh, they have Nashville.
Nashville, Philadelphia, and then at home to Winnipeg. 3 games.
Okay, so 2 easy games. So hopefully that'll turn the ship around. What about Seattle? Because Seattle, man, it doesn't take much for all their. Because the problem with Seattle also, they don't have a game changer like New Jersey has. They score by committee. If everybody's having a down year at the same time, they have no go-to person to get the goal. So Seattle's in trouble if
they have a tough week, Frank. They play Colorado, Carolina, and the Rangers, all home games. But they
might be 0-5 after 2 weeks. That's going to be crucial for them to step it up. And then who else was not doing well?
Vegas and Dallas. That's going to be a great game. Vegas and Dallas, two teams I could see in the Final Four this year.
Yeah.
That's going to be one heck of a game. That might be my game of the week. Probably very low scoring.
That's going to be an awesome game, man. Dallas, that's going to be. I think that's a game of the week for sure.
Toronto, Florida, I think is going to be very physical. I think that's going to be.
But Florida, man, they don't have all their bullets in their chamber, so take out all their results with a grain of salt. If they maintain 500 until their two defensemen comes back, watch out, man. Yeah. So
Buffalo has to get things going. Buffalo plays the Islanders. They also play Calgary, and they play Tampa Bay. So Buffalo needs to get it going.
Not super easy. So they're gonna have to win at least 2 of the 3 this week to be still under 500. So there's lots of teams that are in danger right now. If Seattle's 0-5, man, that's tough. That's 0 out of 10 points. So they gotta win and fast because the West is. It's going to be tough to make, the West takes more points to make the playoffs because there's more shittier teams. So there's like automatic points that are easier to get out West. Like in the East, there's Philly, Columbus, Montreal. They're going to get 70-ish points. But in the West, there's 50-point teams, And like Chicago's supposed to be one of them, and they're doing great. They beat Pittsburgh, and now they beat Toronto. It's like, what?
All right, Frank, let's make our last couple picks here. We're up again. This is what we have left on the board here for
here's Cannon. That's Cannon. Superstar. That's Cannon. And Bouchard. He's still on the board. Okay, what do we need?
Two defensemen, Heiskanen and Bouchard?
I don't know. That's all I see on your board. Like, what the hell's wrong with your board? DP, go by rank. Just switch it. Switch it up a little bit. Switch it up. Rank. Not X rank. Rank.
Tufelo? Or Tufeli?
No.
Pompe?
No. Oh, Lindholm. Reinhardt is still on the board. Okay, hold on. What did I compare to? Heiskanen? No, take Heiskanen and Bouchard. Those are 2 60, 70-point D. We'll figure out the offense later.
Okay. Evan Bouchard, Edmonton Oiler, is on the team. All right, Frank. Thanks so much, Frank. Just hang around after we sign off here. We will we'll do a little bit more of the draft. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks again to Dr. Dynastic from OOTP Developments for coming over with the raid. And hopefully you guys are going to have a wonderful night. Hockey is back on. Congratulations. Apparently the Washington Capitals won the game tonight in a shootout. Let's go take a look at those scores again.
And by the way, Boiled Egg has a good point. We missed that game. Like Anaheim actually won yesterday against Carolina. So that's why the first week, like Chicago beating Pittsburgh, beating Toronto, Anaheim of all teams beat the Stanley Cup favorite Canes. So relax, everyone. Relax. Everything's under control. The Canes are not under the Ducks. The Ducks won because, unfortunately for Finn, Gibson was not in goals. So they had a chance to win without Gibson. Dosto was actually the goalie in goals. So next week, is it Eric that's back or Finn? I don't remember.
It's Old Man Fred. Old Man Fred's back. And here is the shootout result for those of us that couldn't see it on TV. We had, what do we got here? Kuznetsov looks like he scored. Huberdeau saved by Kemper. Oshie saved by Markstrom. A missed shot by Sharagonovich. Ovechkin backhand shot missed, and Kadri missed. So only one goal. Kuznetsov. Yeah, wow. Kuznetsov scores the OT or the shootout goal. So something to cheer for there, boiled egg. Celebrate while you can all those Washington victories. And that was in Washington. Yeah, that was in Washington too.
Kuemper stole that win because, man, Calgary dominated. Like, too bad for Calgary. It's like,
40 shots on goal, 1 for 5 on the power play, 61%. And I mean, you mentioned earlier, you think with the Sutter out of Calgary, Calgary's going to do better. Huberdeau going to start to recover, have a better season than he had last year. So some hope for you Calgary Flames fans.
Yep. And next week we'll do a segment on which goalie the Oilers. You mentioned it earlier. We'll see what's happening with their goalies, but who would be available? Gibson would be available, but they would be trading down from Campbell. But let's do a segment on that, on what's realistic, considering the cap, and who would be available. There's a few names, interesting names out there that could be of interest for Edmonton, but it's not confidence boosting when both your goalies are shitting the bed.
All right, we're back next week. Old man Fred's here to talk Maple Leafs. He's probably going to be smiling unless the Leafs start to tank a little bit, but they did lose to Chicago tonight. So, hey, they're not infallible. All right, Frank, thanks a lot. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tune in next week. We'll probably be back to 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. We went a little earlier today because it was only Frank and I. So, catch you next week.
Later.